Hello and welcome to On the Record, a debate-style television talk show where Bahamians will find the balanced, true and open debate they've been looking for. A government is charged with creating economic development and opportunities for its citizens no matter where they are. But when those intentions are met with different interests in opposition to each other, what is government to do? Lighthouse Point in South Eleuthera presents this dichotomy. At the center is 700 acres of land. The Disney Corporation wants to erect a $350 to $400 million cruise stopover port for visitors and Bahamians. But a local group led by the One Eleuthera Foundation has an alternate plan to include an ecotourism resort and national park. A bitter battle on social media and in the traditional media has escalated in the past few months, and now it's down to the wire. Government is poised to make a decision on Friday, 72 hours after they promised the deadline would be in place. Tonight, we examine the Lighthouse Point development with representatives from the One Eleuthera Foundation and the Bahamas National Trust. We extended an invitation to Disney, but they declined. Our topic, Lighthouse Point, power to the people. It's all on the record. I'm your host, Jerome Sawyer. Our discussion begins on the other side of this break.
On the Record is brought to you by Alive, the nation's newest and best LTE network.
Good to be alive.
My name is Devon McPhee, and I am the executive chef / co-owner of Wild Time. So what's unique about Wild Time Restaurant is that it's an old traditional Bahamian home. It's about 175 years old. We have a fresh, young team we're just trying to change the way people view dining in the Bahamas and trying to highlight Bahamian food as best as we can. Also drinks and supporting local farmers and fishermen. So we chose to partner with Alive and the List Rewards program because restaurants are catalysts for people having a good time, whether it be for a birthday, anniversary, hanging out with friends, or just an intimate dinner. With the List program, we'll keep it fresh, innovative, always interesting, whether it be one of our signature drinks or a discounted food item.
Hi, I'm here to tell you about the fastest way to purchase the vehicle you want right from home.
With SBT Japan, we import used cars from Japan straight to you.
Car ownership doesn't have to be hard. Go to sbtjapan.com and sign up for free. Search for the car you want, place your order, and make a payment using any one of our convenient payment options. Once you pay the duty and tax through our in-house broker, we will clear the vehicle and even deliver it straight to your home. Sounds too easy? Well, shouldn't it be?
It began more as an online campaign, a petition in opposition to the Disney project at Lighthouse Point in South Eleuthera. Since then, Lighthouse Point partners and several environmental groups have rallied against the Disney proposal. A public poll and town meeting on the island showed support from South Eleutherans, which now begs the question whose interest is being served. Tonight, we will attempt to get some interesting perspective and answers. Our topic tonight, Lighthouse Point, power to the people. My guests, Fallon Cartwright, who's with the Bahamas National Trust, Danielle Gibson, One Eleuthera Foundation, and Joseph Sands, former chairman of the FNM Central and South Eleuthera branch. Welcome to On the Record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great to be here.
We have lots to talk about tonight. We did also extend an invitation to the Disney group, but they have declined. Well, a few weeks ago, we raised this very issue with the Minister of Tourism during our discussion on the entire topic of tourism in the Bahamas. I brought this up and asked him what was the government's perspective. Let's take a look at what he said.
So let's establish some facts. The facts are that property is not owned by the government of the Bahamas, not owned by Disney, not owned by One Eleuthera. It's actually owned by a Florida businessman, a Florida developer. Okay. I don't know how long ago he bought it, 10, 15 years ago. and he proposed to make that like a sandy port, like a gated community with canals. And he received approval to do that. So he owns the property.
And that approval is still in existence.
I think, given the passage of time, that he would have to get permission to do that all over again, and I'm almost certain that we wouldn't give it. Okay. So he owns it. It's his. He wants to sell it. So there are two competing groups for this. So the government of the Bahamas really is not in the middle of this in terms of the sale of it. On the one side, you have the Disney Corporation that want to pay whatever they want to pay for it. And it's substantially more than what the other group want to pay for it. So this developer is minded to go with Disney. Disney, of course, won't buy it unless they can do what they want to do with it. So you're right, it's 700 acres. And they are similar in a number of ways. They both want to have a low-density ecotourism product. The Disney Corporation would like to buy the whole thing. They would like to donate 170 to 200 acres to the government of the Bahamas, the people of the Bahamas. If they were to create this park, they've assured us, and it would be written into the agreement, that Bahamians would have access to every single beach, every facet of that facility, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. Their only stipulation is when a boat was in port, that you would have to park your car at a parking lot and get on one of their trolleys, because obviously you don't want people driving through the park when their passengers come there, because you may strike and
Kind of like how you do at Disney World.
Yes. So they would want to choreograph that experience. 80% of their passengers travel with young kids. They're a higher demographic. Their philosophy, and they've heard the noise in the marketplace and they've changed their proposal, is that if you want thrill, you go to our parks. When you come to our islands, you have chill. So they also want to create a low density, low impact, somewhat choreographed experience for their customers. So the other competing group want to do the same in terms of maybe have some small eco hotels on the property. And this is what the government has to make a decision on, what proposal they think would be the best.
And of course, we are down to the wire in terms of when that decision will be made. Government has indicated in a matter of about 72 hours out from now, or even less, they will make a decision on which group they will go with. Because Disney declined our invitation and did not want to come on, I thought it important to sort of, from that interview, lay out a bit of what they want to do. But from a discussion point, I want to talk about Lighthouse Point Partners, who all is involved, and talk a little bit about what the competing development is from your perspective.
Well, I think, first of all, the partners that are involved are the Bahamas National Trust, Juan y Luther Foundation, the Leon Levy Foundation, and as well as the Island School, KP Luther Institute. And all partners are already existing on Eleuthera. They are employers of Bahamians, and they have contributed already significantly to the economy of Eleuthera. And I think that when you look at the differences between both of the plans, there are stark differences. It's not the same, and the minister did indicate several issues that I can just throw back. 200 acres giving back to the community or to the government. Well, when Juan y Luther purchases the property, they intend to put the entire property in a trust for Bahamian people, that it can't be sold or bought by any foreign entities or any other entities into perpetuity. So I think that those are stark differences. 200 acres versus the entire 700 acres. So we win. The Bahamian people will win with the Lighthouse Partners plan. Additionally, low density. I know Fallon is probably going to speak to that, but there's no such thing as a low density cruise model. Everything about a cruise ship is intended to, just by nature of the cruise industry, there's destruction. Where you have Lighthouse Point Partners that's coming in with what can be low density buildings, leaving a lower carbon footprint. And I know that may be out of the reach for a lot of people, but where we have the effects of global warming, it's certainly something to think about. We are a small island state. And when we look at development, we have to look at development that is going to afford us to be sustainable in the future. So I think that there are a lot of differences. Even in the purchase of the property, we are expected to, if Disney pulls out, to offer fair market value for the property. So it's not that we intend to get the property for a discount or for sale, but we do intend to purchase the property.
Let's talk about that sort of low density that the minister spoke to.
Absolutely. The cruise model, what is inherently required to develop a cruise port is absolutely not low density, and it's not sustainable. To have a cruise port come in, you need to, they're saying they're going to put in a pier that's more than half a mile long. Maybe some dredging, absolutely dredging. There's a marina that will be installed. These are not low impact features. And at a place that is so significant environmentally, historically, culturally to Eleuthera and the Bahamas, this is not the type of development that we want to see at Lighthouse Point. And Disney can say what they like, and they can say low impact, and they can say we will do our environmental impact assessments. But the reality is, you're going to have dredging, you're going to have a cruise ship that comes in and descends on the beach with thousands of people. That is not low density.
For those of us who are Nasuvians or Grand Bahamians or Abaconians who've never been to Lighthouse Point, I probably have driven past it and don't even realize it, what is so significant about this property? Joseph, I'm coming to you. Because in the very beginning, I saw the online petitions and I thought, okay, well, they're trying to save this, piece of Eleuthera. It seems important enough. But since then, it has almost exploded into this huge controversy. But for those of us who are unfamiliar with the island, with the topography, why is it so significant? And I don't want to sound flippant in the way that I say this, but why should we care?
Why we should care? Because first of all, we are Bahamians. And also, it's an area where a lot of history. That's where the first slaves came to Eleuthera at the Lighthouse Point. At the Lighthouse Point, you have a lot of reefs. You have a lot of red curls in the lighthouse, where a lot of divers go around and they do their fishing. Also, you have tourists would come on the island all the way from Harbor Island, Governor's Harbor. When they come, they will stop to a food store, they will stop to a restaurant in the communities. And they come to this place over and over. You have places, I meet a gentleman from Spain, and he said, he was at the lighthouse, and he said, this is second time, but he come this time just to bring his wife, the experience. And the most of the time, you meet people out there, they will say, wow, this is the oneness of the world. Not only that, Disney said they will give you access, or Bahamian will have access at the lighthouse. If you look at the map, is one area on the map then identified that is public access. And if you really look at it, it's 2 miles away from the lighthouse. And we have a lot of ruins at the lighthouse. And I believe we as Bahamians, we need to take ownership of our land. We have to take ownership of our development in our country. And doing that, I don't think the Bahamas yet to tap the market in this eco-tourist.
So my question now becomes, what was happening with this development before? You mentioned that people would come to visit it, etc. But was there any economic activity in the community around this prior to now? Obviously there was it's well known by the environmentalists and the conservationists, but was there any real activity in and around this prior to this?
Well, Jerome, I think you said that it's well known to the environmentalists. That is not necessarily the case. It's actually well known to tourists. It's the number 3 attraction on Eleuthera by TripAdvisor. So when people come to Eleuthera, they come to see.
They come looking for it.
They come looking for pink sands. They come looking for the glass window bridge, and they come looking for the lighthouse point. And you ask what is there. When you go there and you are at the tip of the lighthouse, the experience itself is magic. That's something that cannot be recreated on a screen. It makes you feel a calm. Being there at the lighthouse, you get a 360 view of just pristine beauty, and you can't find that anywhere. And people have come. The rocks are uniquely carved by the wind and the sea over the years. And you know what's there on those carved rocks? People's names and initials.
So is it that one of the concerns is that Disney will completely change all of this? Have they, are they looking to do away with all of that, or are they looking to preserve that?
Well, I can't really say to what they will preserve. I think that to remove the lighthouse or the appeal of the lighthouse would be in detriment to them if that's what they decide to do. But I think for us, the issue is more of access for everyone. I think that it's about time for us as Bahamians to reclaim our history and to understand where we are now. It's such a pivotal point in our society and in our growth as a country to just accept what we have had. We've lost so much over the country. Every island can probably talk about what used to happen when Grammy and Granddaddy used to go to this place or that place, and they can't do it anymore. It's the historical value that you can't get back.
Well, I hear that point and I agree with you. I enjoy going to the family islands because I have the opportunity to see a lot of these relics, or to see a lot of what was and is still there. But by and large, a lot of these places are in a deplorable state. They are not being kept up. There's limited access sometimes because they're, overgrown bushes. Structures have been allowed to deteriorate and deplete to almost nothing. And so while I hear your argument, I think as a country we've had all these years to try and preserve and take care, and we've done a bad job in doing it.
I think what needs to be recognized here is that what we stand to lose if this becomes a cruise port. We know what the model is for cruise ports. We know how cruise passengers spend. We know the little impact that they have on local communities. And if that is the model that ends up happening there, we lose all of the opportunity to have spin-off entrepreneurship opportunities in the surrounding communities. And so we have a plan, and it includes 3 components. A national park, which protects the space and maintains the integrity of the special site. But then using that as the impetus for ecotourism and an eco hub, right, for tourists that are coming from all over, coming from North Eleuthera, South, and coming from all over the world. And these are the tourists that will stay in your communities and stay not for a day, but stay for a week, sometimes longer, and spend significantly more money in your communities. And we're saying we can provide, through our plan, we have partners, the partners that are contributing to the national park, but we've also brought in people that have the experience to develop eco boutique hotels, and they're doing that already. So the Holowescos at Island House, Ben Simmons, who is an Eleutheran entrepreneur who has a successful luxury glamping facility that is completely off the grid and embraces sustainability, and happening already in Eleuthera, and we can replicate that there at that site and leverage for the opportunity that is going to be lost if we turn this over to Disney.
Folks, we have to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more on the record. We're talking about Lighthouse Point, what could be. Stay with us. We're going to be back right after this.
Are you afraid to swipe your card and you don't like to carry cash? If so, you need checks. Executive Printers can make checks for all your needs. They have laser checks, personal checks, continuous checks, and more. All checks have up to 15 security features, so you know you'll be protected. You can even customize your checks. Come and see one of our experts today, or log on to epbahamas.com for more info.
Hi, I'm Davrielle here with a very special severe weather rev tip. All rev equipment should be plugged into a surge protector to prevent damage due to power surges. If your home is in a flood-prone area, it may be wise to ensure that all of your equipment is unplugged and off the ground. During severe weather systems, REV customers may experience disruptions in service. If you have issues with your REV services, please call us at 601-2200 in New Providence, 602-8800 in Grand Bahama, 242-300-2200 toll-free from the Family Islands. During times of emergency, our phone lines usually face high volumes. If you're unable to reach us via phone, please feel free to reach out on social media. Also, email us at info@cablebahamas.com with any issues. Thanks for watching. We will be working round the clock to ensure that you maintain the best of all your REV services.
Lighthouse Point, power to the people is our topic tonight. My guests are Fallon Cartwright, Bahamas National Trust, Danielle Gibson, One Eleuthera Foundation, and Joseph Sands, former chairman of the FNM's Central and South Eleuthera branch. We extended an invitation to Disney, but they declined the opportunity to be here tonight. Well, today, Disney nor Lighthouse Point partners have carried out an environmental impact assessment, EIA, as required by law. Environmental groups like the Bahamas National Trust, Re-Earth, and Waterkeepers Bahamas have sought to block efforts to Disney's proposed development. But during a town meeting with the people of South Eleuthera, the Prime Minister said the government's decision would not be swayed by environmental arguments. His comments were labeled as disappointing by many, one group in particular. I've got to ask, really from your perspective, when that pronouncement was made, did that send a message to you?
I was in the audience, and I just slunk in my chair. I was like, oh my, he did not say that. Because as far as I know, and being a Bahamian, this country is pristine by nature. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, and the one thing that we have to do is to always make the environmental case that when people come in to develop, that they preserve what it is that we actually have. And that's the authenticity of the island, the authenticity of the people and its culture, and the history. And for him to disregard the impact of the environment, it's dangerous, because for the cruise ship models, when it affects the marine ecology, we have fishermen and we have boaters that are going to be impacted by dredging, by the turbines from these ships. They're also impacted by waste that may be disposed of by the ships in the waters. So we have to look at the real concerns, and the environment is a concern for us because we live off of our environment.
In the absence of these EIAs, are we not though just sort of making some judgments without having actual information?
Well, we have history, and we know what the cruise ships require. We know that we have to dredge. We know that that creates siltation and can damage coral reefs, impact fisheries, and livelihoods that depend on those. So there are certain components that you cannot remove from the cruise ship model, regardless of how you try to mitigate. You're not going to install a half-a-mile long pier without blasting and dredging, and those factors have environmental impact, regardless of how you try to skirt around it.
Disney's pushback is Castaway Cay, that they have a facility here that is doing well, that has had minimal impact as far as they're concerned. When they bring forth that argument that we are already here, we've sort of tried to preserve where we are currently, what is your response to that? Or how do you respond to, hey, we're already here, we've set up, And look what we've done over here.
Sorry, Joe.
I'll say this much. I'm also a fisherman. And we have 2 cruise ships in Eleuthera already at 10 miles between each other. And from those 2 cruise ships came to Eleuthera, the fishing is not the same. I do deep sea fishing, I do bottom fishing, I do snorkeling, and even the reefs are looking different. So my thing is that we have to take in consideration not only about jobs, we got to think about the environment, what's happening in the environment, and you know, the quickest judgment I ever see in the Bahamas. Just a couple of weeks, an agreement could come as quick as this. And you know, I know we have a good prime minister, and I believe he's going to make the right decision, because if you look at the 2 proposals, it's between night and day. And you know, the days have gone when we just sit down as Bahamians and just accept anything. And I believe the fight now is to protect. The fight is to have jobs, and meaningful jobs where our kids who go off to school come back, have meaningful jobs. And you know, when I see Eleuthera, and especially at the Lighthouse Point, it even means a lot to many people. A lot of people don't go or never went. But if you go there, it's wow. I remember I used to go to the lighthouse when I was small. I used to walk at the lighthouse, catch crab, and so much things at the lighthouse is families do crabbing in that area as well for living.
So it's important to preserve that. Now, one of the things, and you brought up the issue of jobs for Bahamians. Both groups are touting jobs for Bahamians, and that is a very important point for people in the community who have been in an economic decline for a long time now. And the argument is, are we going to provide more jobs, or the type of jobs? What makes the proposition that you have put forth so different from what Disney is putting forth in terms of jobs? Because you're both offering jobs to South Eleuthera,
right,
or to Eleutherians.
I think I will speak for all of the persons that have gone from Eleuthera, went off to college, and come back home. When you are educated and you have careers or you have professions, you want to come back to the island of your birth and make a meaningful contribution. You want to be able to come back to the island and work in an environment that is sustainable, that you can actually advance in maybe your career or your profession, try something new, or become an entrepreneur. For me, the differences are there, and you can see it. What Disney is offering, and it's a part of their plan, they are not jobs that the career Bahamian want to go to. They're not jobs that the professional Bahamian want to come to. And for Eleuthera, what we are really asking for is the opportunity to grow our economy. You can't grow an economy with jobs that are stagnant and with jobs that are simply minimum wage jobs or just above minimum wage. You have to be able to bring people back to the economy. That will spark off construction. That'll spark new businesses, new ideas. You want to bring things to the economy. You want to bring things to the economy. For us, jobs are going to come with the Lighthouse partnerships immediately, whereas the cruise model that they are proposing, the jobs won't come until 2023 when those ships are built for that model. Also, one of the arguments is that yes, well, they have to develop the cruise port. Of course they have to develop the cruise port, and that's going to take years. We're asking for jobs now, and if we're asking for jobs now, then the Lighthouse Point plan and the partnerships, we are providing those jobs on day one. The park is the easiest and quickest way that we can employ people, and that can happen within a week. And we're talking about jobs that will be at all levels. So the horticulturists can get jobs, the construction team will get jobs, roadworks will happen, and you have the ability to start on day one with the Lighthouse Partners plan. with Disney's plan, you have to wait 4 years. And I think that for a community, as you said, that has been in an economic slump for so long, why are we yelling and asking to wait for 4 years to get these jobs?
And we are offering more jobs, 190 full-time positions throughout all of the different components of the national park, the ecotourism facilities, and the education and research facilities. And these are jobs that Disney is saying they're offering 50% above minimum wage. We're offering 260% above minimum wage. So more jobs, better paying jobs, and jobs that give people the opportunity to be trained and develop in their careers.
If I could, and I'm of course by no means representing the Disney Group, I would have hoped that they would have come on themselves and do that, but just from a practical standpoint, I think what they're offering is if their passengers who come on to the facility would not be limited to that, but would be able to visit other points on the island and do other things, as is in the case with other cruises. And then when you look at that, and you look at the ancillary businesses and other things that could come as a result of that, maybe the taxi cabs, the other businesses along the way, etc. You're talking about a cruise ship of passengers coming to the island who, you know, may or may not be encouraged to do other things. It then begs the argument, you know, what about the rest of the island that can benefit? Does your plan offer that? And then the question is also, these folks are bringing in hundreds of people by the boatload. How does your plan match that in terms of getting people to the area and be able to bring some economic life or breathe some economic life into the entire island or into the entire area?
Right. We see that now with the cruise models. And what we have is they dominate the market in terms of tours. They dominate the market in terms of all of the external activities that they can get. The cruise model itself is designed so that the cruise itself maintains and retains all of its monies. Most of the cruise ships, anybody that's been on a cruise will tell you, take your ship card. You can use your ship card at all of the stores. So that doesn't empower people. What that does is and they said it on one of the shows that they were on, that all of the stores will be operated by Bahamians. That's fine that it's going to be operated by Bahamians, but what about being owned? Right. What about being owned by Bahamians? What about our Bahamian crafts? Are we going to be able to sell our Bahamian crafts in these markets and not something that is trickled down or watered down into
Mickey Mouse in an Androsia shirt? Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So when we look at that, we look at the jobs that are going to come from that. Yes, there are going to be kayaking and water sports and all of these other things, but they are not going to be owned by the Bahamians. So it's not going to give them the economic benefit.
Well, I want to ask this question. You talk about ownership, but are people in Eleuthera in that position to set up and run businesses right now? If you talk about from day one, you're going to do some things. Is the economy ready? Are the people ready from now to say, okay, I'm going to be able to open this business and operate this?
It could be. It could be. Bahamians are coming back home. And we have people, like I said, all over.
Now that's good. I'm asking, you're saying it could be.
Yes.
Well, I could say this much. As we speak, One Eleuthera and partners, right now as I speak, that persons could come now and they want to open a small business or a large business. They are willing, they have in place that as I speak, that you could come and bring your proposal for your business, and they will help you set up your business. And also setting up your business, they will make sure you get through your business. And as I speak, a lot of proposal in now, they doing a lot of stuff in the community. Right now in Roxanne, we put in a proposal for them to assist us with docking ramp. They are doing that. And my thing is, One Eleuthera been doing things and from 9 years ago. We have fire station, we have ambulance services, we have credit union, we have kids and schooling kids and giving them a stipend. And you know, we building careers. One Eleuthera is really trying to build a community. The model they have is maybe what government need to take in this whole country, because it's empowering your own, the Bahamian people. And my thing is Freeport, Abaco, Exuma, all of these areas, even in Nassau, they looking for this kind of model to build in their areas.
Okay, I've got one more question before we go to the break. During that same town meeting that we referenced at the top of the segment, Prime Minister spoke about a 2008 project approved for the area under the then FNM government, which allowed dredging multiple canal networks in the same property, land for homes, boutiques, etc. He claims that this would have done more destruction than what is being looked at today. My question is, were there objections raised back then, even as government approved it? Where was the outcry back then, or was there an outcry?
There was an outcry.
There was an outcry.
And that was the creation of One Eleuthera.
Okay.
From that outcry. The model was too grand, too large. The destruction that would have occurred would have been detrimental to our communities.
Was it not approved though?
It was pre-approved from my knowledge, but the community was not backing that plan.
Did you have though this level of opposition?
No,
So
and there wasn't any
the
consultation. Back then, there was very little consultation with the communities, and that's what happened. So we thank God for the stock market crash, because it's been
so
able
there
to
was
preserve
the
us.
opposition, but we got lucky in that the recession happened and the developer realized that this was really not in his best interest to move forward. So the partners have been advocating for conservation of this place for over a decade now. This is not something that we've just come on the scene. And so that's one of the arguments that has come up. But where we are right now, we cannot focus on the past. We have partners who are ready to move forward, who have committed their finances and their technical expertise to implement something that can be historic for South Eleuthera.
Okay. All right. Well, folks, we're going to take another break at this point. Our discussion is going quite well. I'm learning quite a lot. I have to say from the outset, I've never been to Lighthouse Point. It's a shame. I promise you I'll visit it. Stay with us. We're going to be back with more On the Record right after this.
Hi, I'm here to tell you about the fastest way to purchase the vehicle you want right from home.
With SBT Japan, we import used cars from Japan straight to you.
Car ownership doesn't have to be hard. Go to SBTJapan.com and sign up for free. Search for the car you want, place your order, and make a payment using any one of our convenient payment options. Once you pay the duty and tax to our in-house broker, we will clear the vehicle and even deliver it straight to your home. Sounds too easy? Well, shouldn't it be?
We are in our second season of On the Record, and we thank you, our viewing audience, for allowing us into your homes every Thursday at 8 p.m. We value your opinion, and we want you to be a part of our discussions. So make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram and comment on our exciting topics. Remember, it's all on the record. If you are just joining us, we are discussing the proposed development at Lighthouse Point in South Eleuthera with representatives from the One Eleuthera Foundation, the Bahamas National Trust, and of course interests on the island. The town hall meeting held in South Eleuthera recently was dubbed a mini rally by Disney supporters. There are even claims by a local group called the Community Support Group, CSG, that 80 to 90% of residents on the island are in support of this project. I don't know not to say where I'm going to direct that question. Are these assertions true?
Yes, to an extent.
Okay.
I was disappointed as a former chairman of Central and Saudi Lutra.
Did this cause you to be the former chairman?
Yes, I made a.
Really?
It was an election, and I refused to take part because the powers may be. They were pretty much involved from the beginning with Disney, and I think it was unfair to One Lutra, which in One Lutra is Bahamian. It's an organization what was in the communities, helping the communities. I mean, with
So you stepped down, or you didn't run because you thought that people within the party or people within government were involved with Disney?
People who on the island within power from the government is involved with Disney. And I don't feel...
It's a conflict of interest.
Right. So I don't feel like I'm a community-minded person. My community is before politics. And that's why I make a stand, because it don't benefit us in the long run. And the thing about it, that meeting at the school in Greencastle, matter of fact, I felt bad for my prime minister that he was drawn into a Disney rally from the airport. I was disappointed in that, and I don't think our prime minister should have been caught up in that, because even at the meeting, you had young people who been in school, still in school, and you had young people who been through the program with One Lutra, who graduate with skills, wanted to speak at that meeting, and they was denied.
So what happened is that Disney just had their operatives there and they took over the town meeting. What happened?
Yes.
You were there as well, right?
That was the plan from day one. Even in terms of notice of the town meeting, we got notice 24 hours before that the Prime Minister would be coming to Eleuthera, and we were under the guise that it was for economic planning. Not that it was a pep rally, but when we got there, everyone, the moderator, everyone was in a Disney shirt. It was like a pep rally for Disney.
The moderator was in a Disney shirt? They didn't see anything wrong with that?
Who introduced it as a pep rally. The first part of the program, about an hour and a half, was spent with a program of individuals coming up and speaking on behalf of Disney.
So was anyone speaking on behalf of your group?
Well, not at the initial pep rally. It was, like she said, an hour and a half of, they had a line of speakers that would come, brought historical points of view, brought Christian points of view. And
Christian points of view?
Yes, because Disney is from God.
God created Disney? Do they know the owner of Disney is? Do they know who Walt Disney is?
God brought Disney to Eleuthera and prayed with them, so Disney is of God. And this was what we had to endure at what was supposed to be an economic town meeting hosted by the most honorable Prime Minister.
The moderator is the now chairman, and he had on the Disney shirt.
Chairman of what?
The F&M for the Central and Saudi Lutra. And my thing was it just really bothered me, and it makes me feel like where our country are heading.
My question then is, what is driving this support? Obviously, something is getting people to support. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the optics of it, are not good. You shouldn't have that kind of sort of blatant involvement. But obviously, there is something that's drawing people to this Disney development.
Well, I'll say this much. If we just had an election not too long, and the powers may be, if they in power, you have persons who going on the 52 weeks, you have persons who working in government, and if you have persons in power who leading the fight for Disney from the beginning, it kind of should draw people, because I'm in charge, so guess what? I will get people will follow me. And we had people all the way from Bus, all the way from Harbor Island to come to this meeting. And I think it's unjust what take place.
I think that we've lost focus of what should have happened, and we're talking about consultation, and the influencers have created such a spiel that One Eleuthera is bad, the partnerships are bad for South Eleuthera, and it's what's drawn people. They've played on their fears and their insecurities. People want jobs, but you're creating an atmosphere, an environment where you're getting people to feel like this is the only plan or opportunity that will provide jobs. And we're asking for consultation. We're asking for the same time that you've given Disney to consult with these people. Allow One Eleuthera and the partners, which are Bahamians, to present their plan to the Bahamians so that they get an understanding. We've been on several talk shows and people are saying, oh, but I thought you guys only wanted the land to keep the land so that people could just, go on the beach willy-nilly and do whatever. They were not aware that this is a succinct plan by partners who are Bahamians, who are experts in their fields to provide opportunities for other Bahamians.
PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell on record saying it appears as if the fix is in on Lighthouse Point. Do you feel that the government gave Disney an unfair advantage?
I think so. I think that from what I'm understanding and I'm learning now is that this has been 6-7 months in the making, and that this campaign for Disney has been ongoing, and it has allowed persons to really influence the communities in favor of Disney. And the One Eleuthera plan, the Lighthouse Point Partners plan, has not been given that same opportunity.
Your plan you've also come with a modified plan, or you have, correct? You would have presented a second proposal, correct?
Right.
From what you presented the first time. Why is that?
Well, so we've been engaging the government as early as March. So submitted a proposal, not much different than what we've submitted, but what has changed since then is we've brought on additional partners who have made commitments towards developing ecotourism at the site. So we have a better sense for what the potential for projections for jobs. So that's why our jobs numbers change.
So, well, I have to ask
but
then.
the plan fundamentally is the same. And we've been asking government for meetings.
Have these partners come on as a result of the Disney proposal, or were they, hey, Disney's provided this wonderful package, great grand proposal. Now all of a sudden you guys come back with a second proposal to say, hey, we're adding some things here to make it even better. So you know what it looks like on the outside. It looks to me as if, or it appears as if, hey, we need to get a little bit more support behind what we're talking about.
I think that what has happened is that there have been people, the professionals and these people that have just come on recently who have said that, listen, I'm looking at this plan. This is an awesome plan. It is a great opportunity. So let's join this. Let's make this stronger. Let's be able to provide this experience by Bahamians for Bahamians. And I think that is what is different from the initial plan. And that's what we're asking from the government to allow us to present this to the Bahamian people. Because when you look at what is being offered, then you say to yourself, listen, that is a good plan. I like that plan and I'm going to join that plan.
What happens if government rules in favor of Disney?
Well, if government rules in favor of Disney, One Eleuthera had been around for 9 years ago. All it is what One Eleuthera is doing for the community already. It's continuous. One Eleuthera and partners have nowhere to go. It's about building the communities, building up your people, and causing your people to be entrepreneurs. And so that's continued. So, but we would like this Lighthouse is a part of the development of South Eleuthera. And if they decide to give it to Disney, we still gonna do. One Eleuthera is still gonna build, and keep building.
That's a good position that's a good position to take. I'm happy to hear that. Regardless of what happens, you will continue, because sometimes we allow decisions by government to cause us to sort of lose sight of what's important to the nation. So that's important. I know you got more points, but we've got to take a break. I'll let you bring those points in right after this. Stay with us. On the Record continues. Our final segment is right after this.
one of the young professional golfers here in the country, and I have a passion for growing the game through golf, through my 14 Clubs Golf Academy. I started playing golf at the age of 6, just kind of a lucky thing. One of my mom's friends back then played golf, and it was a great way for us to get out on Saturday morning. When I moved home in 2014, I guess, well, coming from the U.S., I was so accustomed to being on my phone, 24/7. And so when the unlimited package, I guess, well, was introduced with Alive, I was crazy excited. For me, with chatting with all of the parents and the students and such like that, my phone is my life. And so being free to be out here on the golf course, use my data, and not have any worries, it feels like I'm back in the U.S. again. So it's awesome, awesome service.
Hi, I'm Davriel, and welcome to Rev Tips, where we answer your most important Rev service questions. Today's question is, how do I keep my number private? To keep your number invisible on caller ID for a particular call, simply press *67, then dial the number. To have your number removed from our listings, please call our customer service line. Be sure to join us next time for more Rev Tips to keep your Rev experience easy and fun.
Welcome back to On the Record. The president of the Eleuthera Chamber of Commerce, Thomas Sands, is on record as saying only an investment of this magnitude of the proposed Disney project can dig South Eleuthera out of the recession it has been plagued with for generations now. Is that true?
No.
Why
I
not?
don't think so. I don't think so, simply because of what we call the trickle-down economic effect. It will not trickle down to the communities that are surrounding the Lighthouse Point. If you, as you said, you've never been there, but for the optics, where the Lighthouse Point is situated, it is on the far southeastern end of the island. And in order to get there, you have to pass through almost all of the southern communities. If Disney is given the opportunity to develop, there will be no need for persons to travel through those communities in order to get to the Lighthouse Point, where they will stay and have a great time. And what that does is now it cuts off the economic head, so to say, of those communities. No one is going to stop for gas. There's no need to stop to the restaurant, or no need to spend the night because you stayed at Lighthouse Point too long. And I think that with Disney coming in, persons are coming off the ship for 6 to 8 hours. And most of them are only going to sit on the beach and bask in the sun.
You come to the Bahamas for the beach.
You come to the Bahamas for the beach. You're not going to go into the communities. Whereas with the Lighthouse Partners plan, putting heads in beds is what will turn the economy around.
And of course, economically, you know that the overnight visitor will spend more than the cruise ship stopover visitor. You got a point.
And simply bigger is better is just not a valid argument. We know that we've had large, inappropriately scaled developments happening in Eleuthera, and they were not the solution. We need appropriately scaled, environmentally sustainable development that provides for highlighting authentic Bahamian culture, experience, and that gives Bahamians opportunity to own their tourism product.
I can't not do the show and ask you about a poll that was commissioned by Disney, conducted by Public Domain, and determined that 72% of Eleuthera residents sampled supported the project. Some groups have claimed, though, that the survey was skewed because of the leading questions. Why would the results of that poll be discounted so easily and so quickly?
Well, the first question starts off by basically singing the praises of the Disney proposal. So first of all, you set your respondents up for bias, because instead of saying there is a potential development at Lighthouse Point, Disney is proposing to put a cruise port. Were you aware of this? They list off all of the, they are proposing to do an environmentally friendly, low impact cruise port that will significantly benefit the communities in South Eleuthera. That sets you up to say, oh, this sounds like a great option. And for people who don't know or didn't have the information, it sets them up to say, okay, this is something that I could get behind. So it was leading and unfortunately likely biased a lot of the respondents.
What I'll say on this is, you say this is the people's time. You say you want to make the Bahamas come where Bahamians could be entrepreneurs, where Bahamians could have ownership, develop this country. So this is the opportunity where Bahamians could develop the Bahamas. This is the opportunity that Bahamians could have ownership, do their development. So this is the people's time, and this is a Bahamian organization who are willing and ready to make a difference in this country.
So I have to ask this, and this is the question I really have been waiting to ask from the very beginning of this show. Why were these proposals, particularly of this magnitude, not put forward before? If Eleuthera has been in this economic slump for so long, the economy has been suffering for decades, why now? Why these 190 jobs now? Why not 5 years ago? Why not 10 years ago? To your point, I've heard you that One Eleuthera has been working. But when you look at now the grand scale of all of this that you are proposing, the question on the minds of a lot of people is, why now? Why did Disney have to come in to propose this for this to come to the table?
I think that what you have to recognize and really appreciate is that Eleuthera was not in the place to be able to own these types of businesses or this model. What One Eleuthera and the partners have been doing over the years is growing the community. The education component of CTI and One Eleuthera now.
CTI?
The Center for Training and Innovation,
okay,
which is an aspect of One Eleuthera, has been growing the people on the ground to this. There's an earn and learn program where they are learning a skill and they are earning a stipend, and this is putting them now in a position.
So you're telling me if Disney did not come with this proposal, we would have still seen the same proposal?
No. If Disney didn't come with their proposal, you would still see the Lighthouse Point Partners proposal.
Because this has built on work that we have been doing. So it may not have been so obvious in the public, but One Eleuthera developed the shared vision after the initial threat to development at Lighthouse Point.
2008.
Right.
2008.
Mm-hmm.
And so that developed a model for economic development in South Eleuthera. And since then, offers have been made from our organizations, unsuccessful, but we have been working behind the scenes. We've commissioned conceptual plans for the viability of the national park. A lot of research has gone into this, and so it's not something that happens overnight.
Not a knee-jerk response.
No.
No, not at all.
No,
Okay.
it's not, absolutely not when you're developing a community.
Okay, I've got to get this question in as well. I asked in the last segment, what if Disney is given approval? What if your proposal is given the approval? Then what? Are you prepared to work along with the current owner? What happens next if after Friday government says, yes, your proposal is approved?
Then the Lighthouse Partners plan to make an offer for the property. Once the offer is made and the ink is dried and monies are exchanged, then we go into the phase of development.
And fully capitalized?
Fully capitalized as early as 1 month after the ink is dried, or 2019, not 2022, not 2023, right away.
So, Mr. Sands, what happens to all those people who are at the Disney rally and the Disney t-shirt? Because now they mad.
Well,
what's going to happen? That's a community divided.
I'll say this. Much as persons who supporting Disney saying that Eleuthera is bad and it's rough and it's tough and all of that, let me say this much. As I speak, One Eleuthera have 73 people hired working as I speak. One Eleuthera now looking for people to work. You have Half Moon Key, which is a cruise ship. They looking for people to work. Princess Key is looking for people to work. Cape Eleuthera looking for people to work.
So the jobs and availability. Okay, yeah. I take your point. Valen, very quickly, because we've got to wrap up. You were about to
Oh,
say,
and,
yeah.
and it's not simply Luther. All of our partners are employing Bahamians on the ground.
So the opportunities are there.
absolutely.
Folks, very quickly, 2 words.
Well, it's the same thing that Joe was saying, and in terms of the people, there's no need to be mad. It's a great opportunity for them to be employed. This offers the same types of jobs and more. So there's no need to be upset about that if Lighthouse Partners is given the opportunity.
Folks, I want to thank you for the opportunity for me to, of course, learn about this. This is one of the reasons why I enjoy doing this show. But I just want to say that what we see here really, and I always say it, is democracy at work. In many instances, because you have opposing sides, people with different viewpoints who are coming to the table to try and do something to better the country. I hope at the end of the day, the benefactors of this project are the people of all of Eleuthera and all of the Bahamas, no matter what the decision is and where it comes down. And I appreciate, particularly when I listen and I hear the effort that's been put in for an organization like One Eleuthera to get to this point. And I do wish, as one of you said, that it becomes a model for other places around the country. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you in your efforts. I really appreciate you taking time to come out. And I will go to see Lighthouse. I promise you that. I promise you. We hope that you have enjoyed our show tonight. Special thanks to all of my guests, Fallon Cartwright of the Bahamas National Trust, Danielle Gibson, One Eleuthera Foundation, and Joseph Sands, who's the former chairman of the FNN Central and South Eleuthera branch. By the way, still thinks it's still the people's town. Yeah, still thinks so. All right. On behalf of my production team, technical staff, all of us, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.